Hi, this is Cole Hamels. Welcome to the Philly Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Philly Show. Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki, part of the Foul Territory Network. Saturday morning, July 27th, 2024. We usually don't record on a Saturday, guys, but the Phillies yesterday made their first trade before the trade deadline. They got outfielder Austin Hayes from the Baltimore Orioles for Seranthony, Dominguez, and Cristian Pache. So we just wanted to get together, and I wanted to ask you guys about this deal. This is, the Phillies have been looking for a right-handed hitting corner outfielder. Austin Hayes is apparently the guy. Jim, your thoughts?
My thoughts on the trade. At first blush, I like it, and I like it for a lot of reasons. I think they got a good right-handed hitter. I think that's going to help, make that potential left field platoon into like one good unit with him and Marsh. But he has the ability to play center field. He has the ability to go solo in left field if you want to move Marsh over to center, depending on who's the hot bat. I think that right-handed stick is essential in the playoffs when you're going to see, Atlanta possibly on their lefties, other lefties. And to me, though, the big thing is, I look at it like a jalapeno popper. It's an appetizer because I still think it's a nice
one and a good one. I like the jalapeno popper. Good call.
Oh, I love a jalapeno popper. It's a really good trade deadline appetizer, and I think they kept their powder dry, didn't dip into their prospect stock for that big arm, maybe two, I don't know, for that bullpen upgrade that I think you need to be, October tough.
Jim, I tell you what, I the first thing that happened when this trade was made was not jalapeno popper, but I do love that. That is great. They didn't dip into the prospect pool. So now this leaves them some extra ammo maybe to go out and big arms. So
no question.
At 100%.
No question. And I like Seranthony. I like his story. I've covered his entire career in Philadelphia. He's a good guy. He's given them good work. It really feels like time for a change of scenery, and I think it could benefit him. He had kind of really slipped on their depth chart. If he's pitching good, like Seranthony we've seen over the years, it stings. But the way he's been going, falling behind hitters, walking guys, and we talk about it all the time, bullpens are up and down, they're mercurial. He could rebound and have great 2 months in Baltimore. Feels like a good baseball trade, no?
Yeah, I like the fact that it was a baseball trade. The one thing that I don't like, and I've talked about this before, I don't necessarily like to rob Peter to pay Paul. In other words, take a major league player off of your roster to add to another major league side. Now, I do know, and I totally agree, you have to give up something for it. And I think a couple of the reasons why they did this, and you guys mentioned it, is that they kept their prospect capital. And so they're going to be able to utilize that, I think, to do something bigger. And I will tell you this, Dave Dombrowski will not be afraid to trade a prospect. He understands what prospects are, and but you have to trade for the right guy if you're going to utilize those big prospects. And I heard some rumors out there about Arozarena and some others. And why didn't we go get a bigger bat or a bigger name? Well, it's because I think their big priority is trying to get another arm in that bullpen, and that's one of the reasons why they held that powder. So let me just talk a little bit about Austin Hayes. I had a nice little talk with Freddie Gonzalez yesterday. He's the bench coach. Okay. And just to get a little lowdown on Austin Hayes, I sort of knew a little bit about his makeup. Great makeup, excellent gamer type, and I think Dave Dombrowski talked about it. That is really important to me as a front office guy, ex-baseball player, clubhouse. I think it's really important. There's a lot of talk about Jazz Chisholm and this guy and that guy, and I just feel like this guy sort of fits in a number of ways. He plays excellent defense. He's very solid. He's not like a plus defender in center field, but he can play center field. He moves well. He's an athlete. He can play all three outfield positions, but you're going to get a quality defender as well. The guy rakes against lefties. He can really hit left-handers. He was pushed out because, the O's have great offensive young players, and he just wasn't playing a whole lot. There's only 9 guys that can play on the field. So I really like this guy. I don't know that he's going to necessarily be a difference maker, but as you said, Jim, I think this is going to be a great compliment to Marsh if they platoon him in left. They also have the option, and you'll probably see this, maybe play him in center, maybe play Marsh in center and him in left. I think they need to add to some offense because their offense has been a little short. Speaking of offense, yesterday's effort, not very good, and it has been for a while. And I think that's something that that's one of the reasons why they wanted to get a little bit more depth in that lineup, so that lengthen it out. Because when the big boys aren't hitting, somebody's got to try to pick it up. Of course, the big boys do have to start hitting more consistently, and they're really struggling as of late.
So, Austin Hayes, where's he going to play? Dave Dombrowski was asked that question yesterday. Rob Thompson was asked that question yesterday. Rob didn't really want to get into it, and he had a good reason why. He says, I need to talk to the other people involved. So it sounds to me, and what Dave Dombrowski says is we see him more as just a platoon player. Rob Thompson kind of said the same thing. That leads me to think he's going to play maybe a lot of left field, at least early on, just to give him a shot to see if he can hit right-handed pitching. Now, I don't want to say for sure that this was what was happening, but I think you might see Marsh move to center field and maybe platoon a little bit more with Rojas after the game. I have no idea what this conversation was about, but Johan Rojas went into Rob Thompson's office post game to have a little conversation. Who knows? It could have been about literally anything, but you look at it, everything that's kind of going on with the team. Maybe he's telling Johan, hey, listen, you might be seeing a little bit less playing time in center field. We're going to have Brandon Marsh out there. That's just speculation on my part. I don't know what that conversation was, but based off of what happened yesterday, it's a possibility. So maybe you give Austin Hayes some run in left field, and maybe Marsh sees a little bit more time in center. Marsh has not hit lefties at all this year. He's not really an option against lefties. And so maybe Austin Hayes can, like you said, Ruben, get that offense a little bit of extra juice, which they need right now.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that happening. And again, they're going to find out. They're going to let him play and see if this guy can be a real contributor and get, again, he wasn't getting a, consistent playing time. Maybe he can get it going against right-handers. Pretty good hitter, man. I mean, he's a pretty good player just in general. Yeah. And he can do some things. So, hey, it stands to reason that he's going to get opportunities, both against lefties and righties.
He might, when you look at what they did to Camden Yards and turned it into Death Valley in left field, he might get up in Citizens Bank Park where he's played before, but he might see the flower pots and think, hey, this is baseball heaven.
yeah, that's a great point. Actually, Jim, there's a mental aspect to that. I mean, I've seen hitters really struggle with that. And I think there's a mental, uplifting when you know that you're in a ballpark that is going to sort of serve you a little bit better. And I think that's a good thing. And I think, and just from his quotes, you could tell that he's pretty excited. He was like, hey, man, you go from one first place team to another first place team with a chance to maybe even be a better team. Mentally, that's a great situation because the guy's not going from an okay team or like a contender to a team that's, middle of the pack trying to battle for a wild card spot.
It's funny. An interesting trade. I mean, two really good teams make a trade. Two first place teams make a trade. That's an interesting element.
Yeah, it's funny. I asked him that exact question, Jim, post game last night. I said, "Don't you kind of feel lucky in a sense because you could have been the extra outfielder that was traded to some garbage team looking to dump a reliever, and now you're on a team that's going to lose 100 games instead of win 100 games." He's like, and that's Ruben. You mentioned that quote. He said, yeah, I feel like, you have a chance, almost more of a chance to win a World Series now than I did in the other places. Like not too many teams where I could say, wow, I actually feel like he made an upgrade. So he seems like he's pretty excited.
And let me just say one other thing about the makeup. I think the makeup is really important. I can't stress this enough. When you get a guy that you feel is a winner, and you get a person, a good quality player, but you get a good quality person. I think they were getting that out of Whit Merrifield, but they weren't getting the production. I think they're feeling like they're going to get the production out of this guy along with the makeup.
And one other thing that Dave Dombrowski said, and we've touched on it, is that he is thinking about October when he made this deal. He mentioned that kind of specifically, saying that in the postseason we're going to be facing some lefties, and we need to have a little bit more protection there. He said, "Listen, Schwarber and Harper can both hit lefties, but they're probably more feared against right-handed pitching. Bryson Stott in the past has hit left-handed pitching, but right now he's kind of been platooning with Edmundo Sosa at second base. So he's like, I don't know if he's going to be able to get going. Marsh is not an option against left-handed pitching. So he felt like he needed to get some protection. If you play the Braves, I mean, the Braves are struggling right now, but if you get the Braves in the first round or in the second round or whatever, and it's Chris Sale, Max Fried, you want to have a little bit. You want to have one extra option in case he's dialed in that night.
Yeah, and I think I saw the Chris Sale numbers against. He's got 3 home runs against Chris Sale in his career. I think I saw the matchups, and so that makes some sense. I mean, listen, he's had some success against them. So hey, sometimes you got to think forward and think a little bit more. We talked about this. We're thinking a little bit more micro than macro, especially since you cannot make any more moves basically unless somebody's released after July 30th. You're done.
Do you think that because of that, they keep it just to reliever? Could it be 2 relievers? Could they possibly sneak in some depth at another place in the next 3 days?
Oh, I don't put anything past Dave Dombrowski, because if he's going to have to give up one of those real quality players, whether it's Miller, Painter, Abel, Crawford even, and it stings, but if it's going to sting, you better get a good quality player. I'm not saying necessarily a blockbuster, but it's going to have to be awfully big to move one or two of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's going to get, for sure. You could write it down. I think one more relief pitcher, but yeah, when they trade Seranthony, I was like, okay, now they're going to get 2. That was my initial thought. You get 2 relievers. Michael Rucker's going to step in right now. Replace Seranthony Dominguez. They like him. They got him earlier this in the offseason in trade with the Cubs. He's healthy now. He started the season on the injured list, went to the 60-day. He's back. We'll see what he can do. But I gotta think
not a trust guy, not necessarily a trust guy unless he's just lights out for the next 2 months. So you just don't know out of him. That's too much of a question mark.
Right.
He's coming off injury.
Hey,
you need a bona fide guy. At least one.
Todd, how did some of the lads feel about this? Some of the big lads.
Well, to be honest with you, the trade happened so late. Didn't really get to talk to many of those guys in the clubhouse post game. But I think
I'm sure they're excited.
Yeah, I think they're excited just to get a bat like that. And I think the scouting report on him, I heard the same thing, Ruben. Kind of what you heard is that he's a good clubhouse guy and pretty highly regarded in that Orioles clubhouse. So,
what does it do to chemistry, Ruben, when, especially like in a bullpen, which is a team within a team, when you lose a member, a good guy, popular guy, been a contributor, everybody likes him. You subtract a guy like that. Does it do anything to chemistry, or is it life goes on almost immediately?
I think life goes on, Jim. I do think that it'll sting for some of the guys because he's made some great friendships over there. I don't think those friendships will end, but he wasn't contributing in the way that all of us thought that he would at some point and really grow up a little bit. He's got the great arm, and he may pitch extremely well for the Orioles. Who knows? But that's okay, because you have to look at it from the perspective of the Phillies. Is Seranthony Dominguez good? Can you trust him to pitch in the 8th and 9th? And really at this stage of the game, you really can't. And he's pitched some big games for them in the past. But if you don't feel like he has the confidence to be able to do that with your club, then you gotta make a change. And that's that makes some sense. And for them to utilize that piece to get another one that was sort of in a dire need of, I don't have a problem with it, especially if what is to follow can be much greater and have much bigger impact. But I don't, as far as the clubhouse is concerned, tough guy to leave the organization. But listen, everybody knows this is a business, man. It's a business. It's time to play baseball, and we're trying to win a World Series.
No question. It's big business, and feelings only matter so much, and you got to make moves. And you mentioned the word trust. His place in the circle of trust had really slipped. And you wish it stung because he was pitching so good. If he's pitching so good, you probably don't trade him.
Right.
So his lack of success starts them thinking upstairs, well, maybe this guy. And I'm sure in Baltimore they're thinking change of scenery, new voice, maybe a tweak. Because sometimes it seems like his direction to home plate is way off.
He has a lot of east to west instead of north to south. He doesn't go towards the catcher. He pulls off a lot, and you see him yanking that fastball that naturally cuts, and yanking that slider. And really, I told Freddie this when I had the conversation with him. I said, Freddie, if you get this guy in some low leverage situations where there's low pressure and he starts to thrive and have success, I think that was my message to Brandon Hyde. Hey, get him in a low leverage, get him some confidence, and once he starts getting confident with his stuff, man, you can start pushing him back into the back end. But right now, it's just not happening for the Phillies.
Yeah, Rob Thompson said yesterday, change of scenery could be a good change of scenery, guys. So you guys are spot on. We will be back whenever the Phillies make their next big move. It might be Monday, might be Tuesday.
Might be tomorrow.
It might be tomorrow. Dave Dombrowski said yesterday, he's like, you have to. This is a market. He said, compared to other markets in recent years, I have a better sense of where everybody stands. He's like, you better be aggressive, because if you're not aggressive right now, you're going to probably miss your guy. So the Phillies, he felt he was aggressive yesterday in getting Austin Hayes. Wonder how else he's going to be aggressive.
Let's go.
One, two relievers, one for sure. I'd be stunned if there wasn't one, maybe two. So we'll be back, and we'll see what the Phillies end up doing. Thanks, everybody. Jimmy, Ruben, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Little Saturday morning baseball talk. Good thing. So we will smell you later.
I'll smell you, Jim.
This is The Phillies Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Phillies Show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. If you like what we do, give us a review. Tell a friend. Catch Ruben, Jim, and me on Phillies Nation TV, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. New episodes air an hour before every Saturday Phillies game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Replays air throughout the week and on PhilliesNation.com. Get more of Ruben's analysis during, before, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Read Jim at the All City Network at allphly.com. Find more of me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and occasionally on MLB Network.